Zohran Mamdani just met with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, and it was quite the spectacle. I'm going to show a few clips from their meeting, and I'll try to unpack this mind-bending, reality-altering meeting that they had. Donald Trump said some really, really weird things. So I'll play a few clips here, and then we'll break it down.
You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought.
What?
I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. You know, he may have different views, but in many ways, you know, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly.
Man, look at Zohran. He's giving every ounce of energy to not punch Trump right in his orange face. He's staring so deep into his soul. He wants to kick him right in the neck-o-see, but good on him for not doing it.
If you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, you know, it just turned out to be a statistical truth.
Trump just mentioned that he and Zohran Mamdani have more in common policy-wise than he thought previously. This is patently absurd. Trump's main reason for saying that is that many Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Trump in 2024, but that had little to do, if any at all, with policy. Now, you can make an argument that some on the left were absolutely appalled by the Democratic Party's handling of the genocide in Gaza, and they would vote for anyone else, even though Trump is much, much worse on that. But Bernie supporters didn't vote for Trump because Trump is a democratic socialist, or that he supports Medicare for all, or the Green New Deal, or taxing the wealthy to pay for a stronger social safety net. Bernie Sanders supporters voted for Trump because Trump represents change, right? Trump said that he's going to drain the swamp. He says that he is going to change the system. Now, of course, none of his actions as president have represented that ideal whatsoever, but a considerable amount of Bernie Sanders supporters in New York did vote for Donald Trump. And you may have known this, but there was a crossover with AOC voters as well. A good portion of people who voted for AOC also voted for Trump.
No, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes.
Trump just said that he would feel very comfortable living in New York City under the leadership of Zohran Mamdani after he helped Andrew Cuomo run his campaign, giving him tips on how to beat Mamdani in New York. After half of a year of the White House coming out and trying to red scare the public into not voting for Zohran because they called him a communist. They called him a socialist. He's actually neither of those things. He's a democratic socialist. It's so weird to see Trump flip here and say that he supports him. He wants him to do well. There's a couple of reasons why I think he's saying this. I'll touch on that at the end of this video, but there's another clip I want to watch. Now, this clip here is particularly brain busting. Let's watch this.
Clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist. And your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
What the hell? What the hell was that? The reporter asks Zohran Mamdani straight up, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist? As Mamdani is about to speak, this is probably what he was going to say. He was probably going to say something to the effect of, I've made it clear in the past my stance on President Trump and his policies, and I stand by everything I said in the past. But he didn't even get to that. Trump cuts him off and makes it easy on him by saying, go ahead and say, yes, it's fine. I understand. What? That's not how Trump normally acts. That's certainly not how he treats his political enemies. Someone who Trump has been tweeting about and posting about on Truth Social several times a day since Zohran won the mayoral election in New York City, that he's going to destroy New York. Trump has been saying that he's a communist and he's going to ruin New York City. But apparently after their meeting, Zohran must have charmed him enough, Or there's a more menacing reason that I'll get to in a moment. He must have charmed him enough to believe that Mamdani wants to do well for New York. Even if Trump disagrees with Mamdani's policies, perhaps Trump genuinely thinks that Mamdani wants to do well for New York, and that's enough for Trump to have a soft spot for him. Here's why I think Donald Trump was saying these things. There's a few different reasons why. One reason is that Trump is actually dumb enough to think that Zohran equals Bernie, and a lot of Bernie's supporters voted for me in 2024, so I like them. But like I said a minute ago, it's very clear that Trump and Zohran/Bernie policies are diametrically opposed. It's the representing change that they have in common. Trump voters, Trump supporters believe that Donald Trump represents systemic change. Now, of course, that's not true, but Bernie and Zohran definitely do represent change as well. So one reason Trump could be saying this is because he stupidly believes that some of his base supports Bernie/Zohran merely because a lot of Bernie supporters in New York voted for Trump. That's one option. Another option, and this might be more likely, is that Trump admires Zohran. Trump loves winners. He admires people who accomplish great things. And what Zohran did in New York is nothing short of amazing. Not only did he start at less than 1% in this race, not even a year ago, he was polling at like 1 or 2% in the Democratic primary. Zohran beat out a Democratic establishment figure twice, in the primary and in the general election. And it wasn't just any establishment figure, it was a Cuomo, someone from the family of what is likely the most famous political dynasty in New York state history. Andrew Cuomo's dad was governor of New York. So was Andrew Cuomo. It's hard to beat systemic power like that, especially when you start at 1 or 2% in the polls. Like, it was a true underdog story, and he accomplished a great feat. And maybe Trump admires that about him, so he's got a little soft spot for him. So perhaps that's the reason why Trump is saying all of these fawning things about Zohran. But here's the reason that I think is most likely. Trump is riding the waves, riding the culture shift. Mamdani's victory in New York is a massive victory for democratic socialism, for the socialist movement in general in America. Zohran is the most popular man in New York City right now. And I think Trump is envious of the positive attention that he's been getting in New York. And he's saying these positive things about Mamdani on national television because it's an effort to do damage control on his image in New York, where he's from, his home state. And notice a while back, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer also had a meeting with Trump in the White House. And Trump has said the most nasty, wrong, awful, mean things about Gretchen Whitmer. But yet when they met in the Oval Office, he was saying some of the nicest things that he's ever said about anyone. And it was just a weird 180 that he took. But it's still weird to see Trump say nice things when they're in front of his face. But, you know, behind closed doors, when he's in bed, after he washes off all of his orange makeup, and he's, you know, under the covers tweeting, saying that saying that Mamdani's a communist and that he's going to destroy New York. At the end of the day, when he's face to face with the man, he's got nothing but good things to say about him. This was a weird, mind-bending interaction. If I missed something and there's another reason you might think that Trump is saying these positive things about Mamdani, put them in the comments. I want to read, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the reasons I put forth are way off base. But yeah, comment below why you think this happened, why you think Trump is doing a 180 rhetorically with his public opinion on Zohran Mamdani. So yeah, drop those in the comments, and I'm looking forward to reading them.